You are listening to Shaoni, Born from the Light, by Iowan, read by Kevin M. Connolly. Chapter 42, Embodied Light Beings. You are, here and now, a being of pure light, not somewhere hidden deep within, nor as something you were before, or will be again later when you die. No, here and now and always, you are a being of light, just as well as you are a human. Shaoni was sitting by a small river, his eyes half closed, staring into the distance. He was alone. His mind had floated off on the waves of past experiences. A couple of days before, they had walked into the grounds of an ancient secret monastery. It wasn't a monastery as we know it. It was just a place in the middle of the woods where a group of people lived and worked together and spent a lot of time meditating. Ever since they had entered the grounds of the monastery, they had met these people meditating. They would just sit around in nature, sometimes by a lake or a river, sometimes just beside the road even, and meditate, their eyes half open. The wizard always passed them by, closely paying attention not to disturb them. At first, Shaoni didn't know what to think about them. Not that the meditators frightened him. On the contrary, even. They radiated some sort of peace, just sitting there. Once, Shaoni had asked the wizard about them, but Aniola had just whispered, "Later, Shaoni," and had silently moved on. That is, until they saw a man, sitting right in the middle of the road, his eyes shut. As Aniola approached, the man lifted his head, and without even opening his eyes, he said, "I knew you were coming. I have been waiting for you." "Just as well," Aniola replied smilingly, "because I have been walking for days, and I knew you would be waiting." Only then the man opened his eyes and gave Aniola a warm, welcoming smile. All this had happened 3 days ago now, and ever since that moment, the wizard had been talking and meditating together with this man who was, so Shaoni later heard, the prior of the monastery and a good friend of Aniola. After a while, Shaoni had just left them sitting there and had wandered off into the woods. Sometimes he would cross the path of some meditating monks. Occasionally they would even nod at him, making him feel welcome, but never did any of them speak. And so it happened that Shaoni's mind started to wander off. How long had it been since he had first met the wizard? Aniola had come to the little village where he used to live with his mom. Almost with a shock, he realized it happened barely 6 months ago. Yet it felt like years. So many things had happened since he had left his hometown. In his mind, he went back to the day when he met the Lady of the Lake, and as he did, he felt a glow of soft tenderness and harmony growing from within. Only moments later, he recalled the story of the drop of water, and soon after he felt himself floating down the river once again. A bit later still, he would feel the energies of the oak tree rushing through his veins, just as he had felt them that one day in the woods. Then his mind floated off to what he called the world of the thousand lights. Shaoni was still deep under the impression of what he had experienced the last time he had gone to the world of the thousand lights. The first time, he had seen it as a place that existed by itself, sort of independent from the physical world in which he lived. Shaoni was convinced that you had to be either in this world, the physical world as he called it, or in that other world, but never in both worlds at once. Oh yes, the wizard had told him that it wasn't so. He said that there was no here and there, that in fact there was only here. But these words hadn't meant anything to Shaoni at the time. That is until this last time, when he had recognized some of the light entities as being people he knew. Since that day, he had come to understand that the Andolin wasn't another world. It was the same world, and the light beings he saw were people, the same people as the people he knew in normal life, only seen sort of from a higher frequency. The thought that everybody he knew simultaneously existed in another dimension, so to speak, a world governed by energy rather than matter, had completely shaken him. When the wizard had told him about the train leaving the station, bringing souls from some other world to Earth, Shaoni had understood this as going from one place to another. Now he realized that he had never left this place. He was still in that place, only at a different frequency. And in order to understand, he only had to let go of the illusion. Suddenly, Shaoni understood what the wizard had been doing all this time. Until now, Shaoni always thought Aniola had been special, as he was living in these two worlds at once. Now he realized that in fact everybody was. The only difference was that the wizard knew it and could freely move from one frequency into the other. How many people were there who knew about this? He looked around. On his right, he saw 3 monks sitting together, meditating. One of them had his eyes open, smiled at him. Shaoni felt waves of glowing warmth rushing up and down his spine. He felt happy. He looked again. These people knew. Maybe they even knew how to speed up the vibrations and experience the 1,000 lights. Again, he looked at the 3 monks sitting there. Then, from deep within, the following thoughts filled his whole being. You are, here and now, a being of pure light, not somewhere hidden deep within, nor as something you were before or will be again later when you die. No, here and now and always, you are a being of light, just as well as you are a human. Once again, Shaoni's mind wandered off. The energies, he thought. Hadn't the wizard said that the energies were pure light, and that this light was love? And isn't that what he had experienced himself, the first time he had felt the energies? These loving energies that brought light where there was darkness, and healing where sadness and disease, and all this was available to him for free. All he had to do to experience this wonder was to open his mind and change frequencies, as the wizard had shown him so often before. Shaoni laid back in the grass. He could feel the warmth of the grass embracing him. Butterflies came flying over to greet him. A tree gently leaned over to give him some shade. And from the bushes, a rabbit looked at him with a smile on his face.